What's up, guys? I'm here with Royce Gracie, the man at the Royce Gracie Jiu-Jitsu with Alex, and we're gonna get inside this guy's head. He's got a fight coming up in how long?
About a month from now.
About a month, but he's ready today.
February 19th.
He's ready today, right?
I'm ready yesterday.
He's ready yesterday.
I was ready when they announced the fight.
So I was sitting here watching these guys train, and these guys are fucking animals. And I'm so thankful they didn't invite me to join them. I was praying, please don't invite me.
It wasn't a strength workout, it was a conditioning workout.
That's why I was praying that you couldn't invite me. So anyway, I'm having a good time watching these guys train. These guys are animals. And we're going to sit down and get inside this man's head and pick his brain. So, all right, guys, I'm with Royce Gracie, the man, the myth. This guy is a legend in MMA, and it's such an honor to meet you.
Thank you.
And watch you train, watch what you do. And you have a fight coming up, and you are fighting Shamrock.
A rematch.
King Shamrock, correct?
For the third time.
For the third time. And if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
49.
49. And you look like you're 18 the way you train.
Well,
it's amazing.
Age is something that people put on their minds.
Mm-hmm.
You see, my strength coach is 50, 52.
Yeah.
Just got invited to do an ultra marathon.
Yeah, it's just a number. It's
just a number.
Yeah. Yeah. So how many hours a day do you train?
I consider sleeping part of the training. Mm-hmm. Resting, eating, part of the training.
So it's 24 hours a day.
24 hours. It's not never drink, never smoke. Mm-hmm. So it's not just I walk around 178 and I fight at 178.
Yeah. So it's every single minute of the day is geared towards training.
I'm not a professional athlete by convenience. To tell the girls, hey, I'm a professional athlete. Do you want a beer?
Yeah.
What kind of professional athlete is that?
Right.
You see, so I eat, I train, I sleep, I rest, everything is towards a healthy lifestyle.
Right. So what I would like to talk about, I'd like to ask you, I would like to talk about the early UFC days and the reasoning why you started the UFC. And my assumption, from what I understand, is that back in the day, there were no opponents. There was, people would come to the Gracie Academy and fight there and fight you, and no one could beat you, so you wanted to start an organization to show that no one could beat you. That's what I understand, but I don't know if it's right or not.
A lot of people thought that the Gracies are arrogant from the beginning, even back in Brazil, because when my uncle, my father, my uncles, my cousins, my brothers all learned the art of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, was everybody claims that their style is the best.
Right.
So there's only one way to find out which one is the best. Take all the rules, take the weight division, take everything out, put 2 men in a ring or cage, no time limit, no gloves, everything goes, and see what happens.
Right.
So we've done that back in Brazil for many years. But what happens in Brazil, people don't know.
Yeah.
And then my brother Holland brought the concept to America, and he created the UFC. So it was an 8-man tournament, no gloves, no time limit, no weight division. Because in America, same thing like in Brazil, everybody claims that their style is the best. The karate says that they can knock a wall, and the boxers like, no, we're best punchers, and the kickboxers, and the taekwondo, and the wrestlers. So there's only one way to find out. Take all the rules, weight division, no time limit, and put them to fight.
Right.
So the idea wasn't to put down the other styles. It wasn't to look for competition. Because I have the belief, I have plenty of competition inside my own family. Those guys give me such a hard time. So it's more to prove to ourselves that our style, what we teach, works.
Yeah.
In Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, a self-defense style. We never say we're going to beat up the opponent.
Yeah.
What we say is, man, I don't think you can beat me up.
Right.
I can't see that, so let's find out, let's see it. So that's how my brother created the UFC. The first UFC was an 8-man tournament. And once I beat fought three fights in that first night, in one night, and beat everybody. Everybody was like, wow, what is this? The
Yeah.
lightweight guy beating guys 220,
Right.
240, 250.
It was I think that was the most amazing thing to ever happen to MMA. Like everyone, like you said, you know, everyone believed in, you know, Kung Fu but Kung Fu, when you put it in a real life situation, you can see that doesn't work too well.
It's all martial art is good. It's just jiu-jitsu is more complete.
Right.
You see, because in the stand-up styles, if you get in a clinch, the ref have to come in, boxing, separate them.
Right.
In wrestling, you pin the guy down, okay, you win. Jiu-jitsu, it doesn't matter if you pin my back, if you get in a clinch, if you do a perfect takedown like judo, doesn't matter. It goes on until somebody give up.
Right. And, you know, back in those days, people only studied one art, and that was it. So, you know, pretty much every single art has flaws. You know, so if you're a boxer and you end up on your back, you're helpless, you know. So you coming out with the UFC, it basically made fighters more well-rounded, and everyone learned that you can't just have one style. You've got to incorporate other styles. So
they have a home, what I call, they have a home, they're good at that style, but then they have to learn Gracie Jiu-Jitsu on the side.
have to. You have to.
Be able to, at least to survive.
Yeah, you have to. So, I mean, you guys completely changed martial arts. I mean, completely changed it, and I think it's the best thing that ever could have happened.
My father.
Your father.
I'm a product of his work.
Yeah, yeah. And,
He's the one who changed everything.
Yeah, and I mean, I was there watching the very first UFC, and I actually.
You were probably a kid.
No, I was. I actually.
No, don't say that. You're old now.
Yeah, I was actually good friends and trained with a little bit Zane Frazier.
Okay.
And so I was watching, and I have to say that was. Those times were just unbelievable watching these UFCs, you know, just watching, like you said, the big, you know, 800 pound, 600 pound sumo, you know, fighting this and all these different styles, and it was just unbelievable.
My next fight with Ken Shamrock in Bellator February 19 is going to be Ken's about 215, 220. I'm still 178.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, so you guys aren't even
like,
close to
there's no weight division again.
Wow. Yeah, so that's kind of heavy for him, yeah?
No, the first two fights, he was about 220.
220, yeah, and he's 6 foot?
It's about 6 foot, yes.
Yeah.
I'm 6'1", 178.
Yeah.
I tried to gain weight, but...
You've always been 178?
Always.
Always, yeah. Why would you want to gain weight?
Bigger, stronger. Man, come on.
Won't that hinder you though a little bit, or?
God don't give wings to a snake, man. Imagine a snake flying.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah, so you feel that it would benefit you if you were a little heavier, stronger?
Knowing what I know, yes.
Wow.
Knowing what I know, man, if I was heavier, but I burned everything.
I always feel like the lighter the better, you know? The smaller the better as far as wind and, you know, being able to but I guess if you don't have a problem with your wind, then... Yeah.
Yesterday I went to do the medical.
What's that?
The medical for the fight.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
And the doctor said, testing my heart rate, said lay down, rest for about 10 minutes, and we're gonna check your heart. In 10 minutes, when I lay down, my heart rate went to 40.
Wow.
She's like, dude,
That's crazy.
how can you do that?
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow, yeah. So yeah, it's I think it's so amazing what you guys have done to the MMA world, you know, and you're still doing it to this day. And still training, still fighting.
But it's just the art of self-defense. It's not we're not here to beat up and prove that we can knock and step on people's toes.
Right.
No, we just claim that our style of self-defense is the best.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah, and you guys definitely made that clear. You know, I mean, those first UFCs, it was just unbelievable watching how easily, you know, you can handle opponents that, you know, there was guys that were the best at their art. I mean, one of the guys was, the guy that represented Kung Fu, I think was like a grandmaster, you know.
My brother, when he invite people, he invite
the top, the best of the best of the best.
The top boxer, and then the second place, the third, you went down the line until somebody accept from boxing, and then kickboxing, and karate, and wrestling.
Right.
So.
And then, you know, because back then, people were unaware of ground fighting. I mean, not in Brazil, but in America, people
They had
were
judo,
unaware
they
of
had
ground fighting.
wrestling, but it's not as complete as Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Right. But back then we never looked at wrestlers as
Martial art.
even someone that would even be a fighter.
A lot of wrestlers and judo guys tell me today, man, back in that day, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the martial arts magazine would not publish anything about judo, wrestling.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu was not considered to be martial art. Martial art was kung fu, karate, taekwondo.
Right. And the crazy thing was that people would spend, 20, 30 years of their life mastering a certain kind of stand-up fighting. And you guys proved so easily that can be useless. You could practice for 30 years stand-up fighting, and someone who knows jiu-jitsu can just make you useless. Can take you down.
Because it gives you a notion of distance. The stand-up art, it gives you a notion of distance. You have to know that because the fight doesn't start on the ground.
Right.
The fight starts standing up. So if you don't have a notion of distance, you see at least the footwork, how to move in, move out. Yes, it can happen. You're gonna get caught.
Right.
But if the grappler gets a hold of you,
It's over.
You better know what you're doing.
It's over. You're helpless. And it's funny because when I used to watch you fight, you're so relaxed and so calm, and you're thinking 2 or 3 moves ahead of where you're at. And you see, you might slap or you hit with the palm, and people don't understand that you're not trying to hurt them. You're just trying to distract them so you can grab an ankle.
It's a distraction from move to point A to point B.
And you're so many steps ahead of the opponent. He thinks you're going for an ankle where you're really, ankle, and then you're really going,
yes.
So
that's the idea.
They say it's like a chess game.
Yep.
Where it's a lot of brain,
thinking ahead. Well, the idea is, I'm not here to beat him up, like I said. It's Jiu-Jitsu gives you the ability to be able to choke somebody, put somebody in submission, and give you a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I didn't give up, I'm gonna break your arm.
Right.
You give up, you're gonna go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the beauty of Jiu-Jitsu.
So if someone puts you in an armbar and your arm is going to break, will you tap or will you let your arm break?
Go ahead and break it. Give me up, man.
So that's your mentality.
Don't train hard enough to give up.
Yeah.
There's no giving up.
So your mentality is you're not going to tap.
You got it, man. Might as well take it home with you.
Yeah.
I'm not giving up.
Yeah. So the mentality is now.
Gracie, crazy. It's a little close enough.
Right. But you're confident that no one's going to get you in an armbar.
It
Correct?
could happen. It could happen. I could make a mistake. I'm human.
Yeah.
But
I
if
watched.
you catch it,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to break it.
Yeah. So there is no tapping. There's no such thing as tapping. Tapping doesn't exist in the Gracie world.
Give up doesn't exist. Go ahead.
Yeah. That's crazy. So yeah. You give me an armbar, I'm gonna tap my ass off.
I don't think I can get you in those arms, man. Come on.
Yeah, no.
It's a lot of mental game too.
Right.
It's a lot on the mind. You see,
But I believe I believe that, the technique that you have and knowing the technique a certain way that it probably does. I don't think it matters how strong I am, that if you have the right technique, that you're going to be able to give me an armbar regardless of my strength. Is that true? Or is it possible someone's strong enough that they could actually...
I don't catch you when I want to. I'll catch you when you make a mistake.
Right.
So it's like 2 boxers. Sometimes they box for 12 rounds and nobody goes down. Why? Because they didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Now sometimes they go down on the first 30 seconds. What happened? He made a mistake.
Right.
So if you don't make a mistake, I won't catch you.
Yeah.
You see, it's a question of who makes the mistake first. So it becomes a lot of strategy. It's a game of strategy. It's not, a lot of people say, what's your strategy for this fight? Well, I'm going to walk in, I'm going to take the guy down, I'm going to get on top of him, I'm going to throw a couple elbows, he turns around, I'll choke him. That's not a strategy. That's a wish.
Yeah, that's
you wish the fight goes that way.
Possibility.
Right? Strategy is knowing what your opponent's going to do, take him out of this game, and then apply your things.
Yeah, you have no idea what's going to happen once you get in there.
It's,
You can't predict anything.
You can have a strategy to take him out.
You can know your opponent's weak spots and know what his weaknesses are and know what your strengths
take him out
are.
of that.
Right.
So, but it's a lot of strategy today. It's not just I'll catch you when I want to. I'll catch you when you make a mistake. If you don't make a mistake, I'll never catch you.
Right. Now, what's your opinion on as far as people saying they can psychologically win the fight before it even starts? You know, there's a lot of talk of, you know, where at the weigh-in, you know, you can psych the guy out and, you know, and get into his head. And, you know, he could be fearful, you know, by just, you know, how do you feel? You think that happens?
It happens a lot.
So people will lose the fight before they even
Yep.
get into the fight, you know.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
One time I was actually going to do the press conference.
And can you see it? When you're standing, can you see if you break someone, like psychologically?
Oh, yeah.
You can see their eyes or the way they act that you've already broke them and they're already doomed, they're already going to lose,
One time
that they have
in a
fear.
press conference, I was going to convince my opponent not to fight me.
Mm-hmm.
Right at the press conference. I was
Right.
going to pick up my chair, put in front of my brother. I'm going to pick up the chair, put in front of my opponent, tell the media to wait for a second, and I'm going to make him leave the room. My brother's like, are you stupid? I was like, why? Well, if you convince him to quit, you don't get paid. You don't fight. I was like, good point. Let him fight.
That's true,
I
yeah.
was going to convince my opponent not to fight me.
Yeah.
Right there, day before the fight.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I could have done that.
Right.
I'm sure I could have made him walk out of the room. You know what, just go home and get out, go home. You're going to lose. You're going to get your butt kicked. Just go home.
So when you're standing face to face in the ring, you can look at your opponent and you can read if he has fear. True? You can see it in his eyes if he's fearful. And at that moment, that just gives you the confidence to know that.
See, you can see that, but of course, you can't count on that.
Yeah.
Because somebody that's scared might swing even harder.
Yeah.
So yes, but you can see that.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're gonna lose.
Even before the fight.
Yeah.
You can see that.
Yeah. So
I got your number, and he goes, I know.